should see in a few seconds, you should see the screen turn blue. It should say our live stream. All right, straight. Got 45 seconds, y'all. Ten seconds. About to start streaming now.
Left-Wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat.
Welcome to the Left-Wing King podcast. Today we're going to be discussing the dangers of Project 2025, why Kamala Harris is not a DEI hire, and why celebrity endorsements influence workers. I am your HMIC, your head moderator in charge, Malik, and I'm joined today by King Ace.
What up, what up?
King Matt on the comments and on the boards, and our special guest, King Steve.
What's up? What's up?
Let's go ahead and get it cracking, fellas. Let's get it. All right, Project 2025 is a 900-plus page document. It's a far-right conservative plan that goes into effect once Donald J. Trump is reelected. But we're going to stop that from happening, all right?
Yeah.
The plan contains actions that have raised serious concerns among Democrats who feel that Project 2025 poses significant risk to our democracy and our social fabric. But the plan is so large that it's hard to keep track on everything in it. It's 900 pages, you know what I'm saying? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and share the top 5 dangers of Project 2025. We're going to start off with number 1, which is centralization of power. Project 2025 threatens the delicate balance of checks and balances by centralizing power. It undermines democratic institutions and weakens the system's ability to hold leaders accountable. Ace, what are some of the ways that Project 2025 seeks to centralize power?
Oh man, they got and first and foremost, man, it's 900 pages. That's 3 books put together.
Mm-hmm.
They say you want to hire something from black people or a black man, you put it in a book. That's 3 books. So, they knew what the hell they was doing. They have a 4-pillar policy. What I was reading up on it, and I kept following on this, and what they want to do is centralize government from day one. So just to kind of let you know, I'm going to run through it real quick, but you're going to have to do your studying on this one. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have no cliff notes, so I can't give you the quickness on it. But 4 pillars: policy, personnel, training, and a playbook. And I'll just run through them real quick. Policy, plain and simple, man. They're just going to lay down policies, going to centralize the government to the, executive branch, just cutting through a lot of bureaucracy and red tape that you have to go through right now. Just basically giving Trump all the power he can have by eliminating a lot of the organizations and agencies we have out there to protect our rights. Personnel, they're recruiting personnel that have their same conservative beliefs. And when I say they, I'm talking about the Heritage Foundation. This project's been set up since 1981. They've actually tried to, they used it to influence Reagan's administration. They've been trying to use it ever since. So this ain't nothing brand new. They just found the one person that's crazy enough to let them influence the government and forget the rest of us. So they want to recruit like-minded personnel to push their policy. Training, and then train those people. Training is the next pillar that they want to do. Train these individuals to do what they need done when they need it done. And then they have a playbook that says the first 180 days Trump's in office or conservatives in office, they have a playbook to basically dismantle the government as we know it right now. Mm-hmm. That's why he says, I want to be a dictator day one, meaning that once I become a dictator It ain't no turning back. It's over with. It ain't like you're going to be a dictator. Say, hey, let's go back to normal. Day 2. 180 days, they're going to put this playbook into play to get Project 2025 off and going.
Yeah. He said 4 pillars. I got 4 E's. I got the economic guardrails being removed, education being dismantled, the environment, and also dogging out everybody that's black. Everybody that's not white, you in trouble, man. Everybody that's not white, you in trouble. So, and it's kind of funny because everything that we're talking about, it all relates because, you know, when you're talking about a consolidation of power, when you're getting rid of agencies and stuff like that, you're consolidating that power. Mm-hmm. You know, you have fewer people to answer to. You have fewer people to even research what you're doing is right or wrong. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny because when you talk conservative, when you talk Republican, usually they're not big government. They don't want government involved at all. And this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is dismantling government altogether, or making government big as hell and making all the decisions that you want without you having any choice in it.
Yeah, they want big government where they want it big. Yeah. It's a better assessment to me. And in addition, we are a very big country with a lot of economic power. So when you say we don't want big government, you can't have a country this large and not have a fairly large government. It's not logical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Definitely. So, so it's, you know, we've been talking about Project 2025. I think, how many shows? This is like the 3rd or 4th show probably been going on. It's important. I think it's something you got to look at, you know, and I make jokes about the 900-page document, but yeah, it's definitely something that shouldn't be ignored. And that's why we're taking the time to talk about it and hoping through our platform, we can bring it home to let you understand how important things are coming this election and what this world could look like if the wrong person gets in office.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that leads us into like point number 2, right? Mm-hmm. So the second danger is dismantling federal agencies. So the plan advocates for the dismantling of federal agencies, which could severely impact public services. Imagine a world where essential services didn't exist any longer and citizens didn't have the critical support that they need. Steve, what are some of the federal agencies that Project 2025 will dismantle, and how will they go about doing that?
Okay, so they're dismantling or weakening the Environmental Protection Agency, so OSHA, those types of things. And people, you got to look at the hurricanes that we're having right now. Yeah. You don't have people to research that. Up in North Texas, they're having, you know, earthquakes, you know, and I mean in big earthquakes, you know, so you can't have those types of things and not have people to research what's going on with that. You can't fish now and eat your fish because it's too full of mercury. You know, so if you can't fish, you can't hunt. You know, and again, these are right-wing things. Look, fishing and hunting, this, you know, that's a country for, you can't fish, you can't hunt, you can't eat your food. You can't eat what you fish and hunt for. They're dismantling all of this so that it's not just going to hurt people on the left, it's going to hurt people on the right too. But the thing about it is they're using these wedge issues to, you know, so you don't see that, okay? Now, with education, okay, they want to dismantle the Department of Education so that people can not make educated decisions. So the next time some BS like this comes about, people aren't able to look at it and see it for what it is. Because that's the problem right now. People aren't educated enough to really say, okay, you know what, I disagree with this, I disagree with that. They see these smoke screens.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, with social media, it's easier for them to put out bullshit and nonsense and just get a whole bunch of people to jump aboard. Social media's got the alluring capability to make you think you're right because a whole bunch of other people agree with you. y'all just a whole bunch of wrong damn people. Y'all ain't.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Y'all ain't right. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, with the Board of Education, if you educate and know what's going on, if you take time to read and study and research, you'll know what's going on. But we're gonna dismantle that so we can honestly dictate to you and tell you what you want to. We'll educate you and tell you what you want to know and what you need.
Yeah, and what they want to do is they want to do this. They want to dismantle the departments and the parts that are essential. When they'll move to the departments that they want to keep. But again, that goes back to your consolidation of power. So all of this is related, okay? And all of it is centralized on making a very few people very powerful
And very rich.
and very rich with very few guardrails.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because the only reason you want to dismantle anything that's environmentally safe is so I don't have to pay to keep you people safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I can make whatever I want, and either you got enough money to pay for it on your own, or you die, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
It's just like if you're talking about the FDA or whatever. I said in the last show, this stuff was put up in the 20s when people weren't 1900s, in the 20s when people Industrial Revolution just started, and they were manufacturing stuff, and people didn't have any safety concerns, and so oil can fall in your meat, whatever. If they sold it to you, they sold it to you, as long as they were turning $1. And these people that are making this money, they want that back to where they don't have to answer to the government on anything, and they're using Project 2025 to set that up.
Yeah, and when you talk about things like the FDA, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Department of Education, that's not a left wing or a right wing thing. That's things that every American needs. Every American needs to have the opportunity to have a good education. Every American should be able to breathe clean air, drink good water, have good food, have food that, at least be able to have the choice to have good food. If you've got a bad diet, well, then that should be your choice. But you should be able to know that what you're going to eat is safe, that it's not going to be full of mercury. You go outside, you shouldn't have to worry about catching cancer because of things that are in the air, those types of things.
Yeah.
Okay? And all of that, they're dismantling all of that. They want to. And and again, they're going to do that by consolidating, moving things that they have to. There's some things you ain't going to be able to get rid of. If you can't get rid of it, then what they're going to do is they're going to consolidate it to another department. And they'll have one or two different departments that are very powerful. So,
and then they want to mess with the FBI and the DEA, and that's only one reason you want to mess with either one of them. You trying to steal something, or you trying to get drugs into this country, one or the other. So, it's just
you messing with the FBI, the DEA, and those types of things, because then you can also mess with the narrative. Because right now the narrative is that the people who are coming over here illegally, who usually are just coming over to get jobs, let's be real, okay?
Yeah.
95% of the time, that's what it is. But if you are in charge of the DEA, you can change that narrative.
Yeah.
You can change, now right now we're looking at it, it says 95, okay, well, we're going to put that to 40, we're going to change the numbers, And they could change things to change public perception.
Yeah, yeah.
And changing public perception, if you look at how things are done in places like North Korea, in places like China, how things were done in Nazi Germany, you change perception, you change how people are going to look at things. Even if it is bad for them, they're going to rock with you because they're going to believe that it's the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely
Yeah,
right.
and perception is everything. So
And when they start doing these mass deportations, now we're deporting criminals and drug dealers.
but that's not what
No, I'm saying that's the perception they want.
Yeah, that's the perception that they want. Yeah.
Well, the perception that I want is for somebody to click the damn like button. I want to perceive that you was clicking like. Okay? So, click the like button if you want to see more content like this, and make sure that you subscribe to Left-Wing Kingz and share this on all of your social media platforms. So, I've been getting a lot of comments on YouTube that the audio is echoing and it's out of sync and stuff like that. So, apologize for all of the audio issues that we having right now, and unfortunately, try to do some technical, gymnastics, and it didn't work. So we'll try to see how it goes and make sure that we get it fixed up for our next episode. But with that being said, I want to get into danger number 3. So Danger number 3 is a rollback of civil rights and DEI. So Project 2025 will look to undermine civil rights progress, putting vulnerable communities, including Black and LGBTQ, at risk of discrimination. So Steve, how will Project 2025 accomplish this, and why does the far right want to roll back civil rights in the first damn place?
That is actually something that they're well on the way to doing. They started doing that with their Supreme Court hires.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're changing things like, again, the dog whistles with DEI, okay? When you're talking about court cases where you can't use any type of race or anything in college admissions, that type of thing, okay? You're changing what is taught in school as far as history, okay? Those are going to change how people perceive things. They're going to change how people perceive civil rights, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to change, again, with policing, okay? How we are able to protest, how we are able to go on Facebook, what we're able to say, those types of things. Those are things that we have to be careful of because those are things that they're going after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and it comes down to politics. Look, man, politics is real basic. It's the division or the discussions around resources. All right. I mean, when it comes down to a plain and simple, that's the meaning of politics. And civil rights gave Black people and minorities, and I'm saying minorities because, people always think we're just talking about Black people, but this is also your other people that think y'all a step above Black. It gets to roll away your political power. You know what I'm saying? When they take away your civil rights. It comes down to politics. Hey, when they gerrymander, when they try to take away your vote, that's because they don't want you to have a voice or have any political power to get any of those resources that you need and some of these rights that we're talking about. Yeah. So that's what Project 2025 is going after. Hey, you know what? It was a time in this world where Black people didn't have any political power. Mm-hmm. No minority had any political power. We want to get it back to those days, and that's what they're talking about. And that's why they're attacking civil rights, DEI, and everything. We talked on the show, diversity, equality, inclusion. Those aren't even bad words to say.
Yeah.
Why would you even attack something that talks about things that should be automatic? Uh-huh. You wouldn't need a DEI if there wasn't discrimination. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you didn't discriminate, you wouldn't have DEI. So the same people that want to put a bad stamper on DEI tells me you just want to be able to discriminate against people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's not just a race thing. It's also they want to discriminate, tell people who you can marry. You know, if you gay, you can't marry another man or female or whatever. And I don't understand how is what somebody is doing in their own bedroom any of your business anyway.
I always said this. Gay people want to get married. Let them be miserable too. Hell, let them get married along with straight people. Don't hold that back from them.
You said let them be miserable too.
Let them go ahead and have them marriage arguments and all. If they want to sign up for that, good luck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, all jokes.
They want to get yelled at and go sleep on the couch.
Man. Yeah. They want to have to come home after fix shit they don't want to fix on their day off. Let them do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Always being asked questions and shit. They want that in their life. I just want to sit down for a few goddamn minutes. Nah, just kidding though. But nonetheless, yeah, I mean, and they're going after all of that, man. That's why it's important to pay attention. When they, you said the Supreme Court, and yeah, it did start. When they attacked Roe versus Wade out of nowhere, I said, next thing they're going to go for is civil rights, man. That's the next thing they're going to go for, man. And that's why people don't understand how much that's an important aspect is that, when you start letting the Supreme Court justices turn over people's rights and things of that nature, then it's nothing for them to go back in and start looking at, like, the Civil Rights in 1964, the Voting Rights Act, and all the stuff that we take for granted now, and start messing with that and teetering with that. End of the day, in the story, Black people, minorities, a lot of people, for you to get a right to vote, it had to be put into law.
Yes.
And just like it was put into law they can take it away. And that's basically what they're talking about doing. There ain't no guarantees. The Constitution didn't put that in there for us. We had to amend the Constitution. Just like they can amend it, they can go back and take it off. And that's what Project 2025 is aiming to do.
Yeah, and that's actually something that they're already, when you're talking about the voting rights, they're already taking people off of voting rolls and everything, and they're making it more difficult. Again, it's not just a black thing. Minorities, working class white folk. If you don't own a house and you're moving quite a bit, and they decide to take you off the voter rolls and you go to vote, you know, because you've moved or something and they're not letting you vote, within your vote doesn't count. You're losing your voting power, okay? So it is a situation where it's going to affect everybody. It's not a left wing or a right wing thing. It's going to affect every American.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to affect every race.
Yeah, something that affects everybody as well as reproductive rights, you know. So restrictions on reproductive rights is number 4.
Yeah.
So nationwide approval or removal of reproductive rights is part of Project 2025. This could have dire consequences on women's health and reproductive health. So Ace, what steps does Project 2025 propose to take to restrict reproductive rights?
It was some things that caught me off guard when I read up on it a little bit, but you know, of course they're trying to push for a federal ban, you know, on that. You know, as much as they lie and say they're going to give it back to the states, their main goal and objective is to do a federal abortion ban. Now, what I found intriguing was they want to take the Health and Human Services Department and transfer it into what they're going to call the Department of Life.
Yes.
And their main goal is going to be to outlaw abortion and penalize people who utilize abortion. And that's what caught me off guard when I looked at it. So, yeah, they're really got an extensive push and attack to make abortion illegal in this country, no matter what kind of abortion you get. That could be rape, incest, or whatever. They don't care. You can't get any abortion, and they're trying to make it to where it's going to be federally mandated. Once again, anytime you hear a Republican talking now, hey, man, we're going to give it back to the states of making the decision. But Project 2025's aim is to make it centralized through the federal government, you know, and through the Human Health and Services Department.
Yeah. And again, just like we were talking about before, it's already started because they already impacted the Supreme Court with a lot of, and they always talk about left-wing being radical, but these Supreme Court justices are making radical decisions.
Oh, yeah.
They're making radical decisions, the stuff that was already precedent, okay? You know? So if you're on the Supreme Court, that's not something you're supposed to do, okay? But they've already done that, okay? And reproductive rights, again, that's a health thing, you know? You start telling people, oh, well, you can't have an abortion if you're having some type of health. And again, at least looking at the information here in Texas, they're not making it so people who live in rural areas are able to have safe pregnancies. You having a problem pregnancy and the closest hospital that you have to you is 100 miles away, and you're having a problem pregnancy. If you say, you know what, this isn't safe, I need to get an abortion, you can't do it. And that's real, because there's so many areas where you don't have rural hospitals. So many areas where it's like for you to get to a major hospital, it's far, okay? And if you have a problem pregnancy, by the time you get to the hospital, you might be dead.
Yeah, yeah.
And what they're not doing is, okay, so we're going to change your reproductive rights, but we're not fixing your health care to where you can have a healthy baby. We're not fixing your health care to where when you go through this pregnancy, it's conducive to you being healthy. Mm-hmm. Once this baby is born, you're not making sure that this baby is going to have a good education, because we're going to dismantle the Department of Education. And
they're eating shit food.
Yeah, and they're eating shit food. Yeah, it's all connected.
God dang it.
You know,
is this a horror story? Like, who wants this country, though?
But the thing about it is this: people do not realize you have to vote And look, if you disagree, you disagree, but you have to really look at, okay, what is best for me? Is it best for me when stuff is going on and we can't even look to see why we having so many damn hurricanes, why the water's getting so damn hot, why we having so many droughts? We ain't even gonna be able to look at that anymore, okay? If we have a problem pregnancy, look, like I said, let's just say, look, I'll be devil's advocate. Let's say you're pro-life. You have a problem pregnancy. You can't get an abortion, okay? Baby has developmental problems, is gonna die anyway. You can't get an abortion. That's not the type of life that we as Americans should want for ourselves, okay? And again, somebody's raped or something like that, they got to carry that, child full term. But then, like I said, once the poor child gets out in the world, we're not giving them the opportunity to really be successful. We're not giving them a fighting chance.
No.
Fucking up their education and everything. What? Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, I mean, shit, this is depressing. You know what I'm saying? But that's why, like Sean said earlier, man, that we need to defeat Project 2025. That's something that we got to look at. And you have to tie it directly to Trump's agenda and the Republican agenda. I mean, I just hate to say it. I was reading right now, they had something that said he approved 64% of it. Yeah. I don't want 64% of it. You know what I'm saying? Like we're talking about.
And also, let's get through this election. Vote in this election. But after this election, vote for your damn Senate. Vote for the congressman. Vote for your state Senate. Because if you don't vote for your state Senate, well, then the state will take your rights to vote. Okay? Mm-hmm. Let's be real, okay? Vote for your city congressman. Make sure that your interests at heart are at least looked at and respected. And they're not going to respect it unless you can vote them in and vote them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking at Texas. Texas is a minority majority state. There are more black people and Hispanic people in Texas than there are white people. Texas is a low voter state. So us as minorities, we don't have no damn power. Mm-hmm. We need to change that. We need to get out and vote. Black people, you need to get out and vote. Hispanic folk, y'all need to get out and vote. And guess what? Poor white people, they fucking y'all over too. Y'all need to get your ass out and vote.
Hey, besides taking away all these other rights, another right that they're trying to take away is free speech. All right, and they're trying to suppress free speech and media control. So that is danger number 5. Now, this plan threatens free speech and media independence. So basically, they want to, have like a Russia type shit with their media. So imagine a society where, not even Fox, even worse than that. Imagine worse than that. Imagine a society where dissenting voters are silenced and information is controlled. So that's worse than all of that other shit, because at least they get to talk about what they want to talk about, even though it might be some fucked up shit. They still get to talk about it. Like, if the government is able to just silence you and control everything that's being said by you or the media, that's a whole different ball of wax. So, Steve, how will Project 2025 attempt to limit free speech?
Okay, so if Trump gets in office, I think that what he was doing in his press briefings, not allowing certain people into the press briefings and everything before, that's going to get amped up, because that's going to, now they've looked and seen, okay, well, if we move people out, then that makes it more difficult for them to get in information. That makes it difficult for them to have access to the president. So they're going to be doing that, okay? They're making, when you talk about media and free speech, you can't they're making laws already to where, you can't protest, okay? It's not safe. When you look at the young man in Austin who got killed, mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Carrying the gun, right?
Carrying the gun, yeah. Carrying the AR-15, and Governor Abbott,
that guy off.
Yeah, he pardoned him, okay? So you're not safe even if you're protesting for your civil rights peacefully. Mm-hmm. Some crazy-ass serial killer can come in with an AR-15 and our governors are going to pardon you. You know, that again, and I'm talking about things that are already in place. So when they implement Project 2025, what they're doing is they're doing this. They're taking things that are already happening, and piece by piece, they're implementing laws that protect these people who are doing these things.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a good example, if you want to look at how America look under Project 2025, look at Russia. Think about it. Think about Navalny, man. Navalny was, you know, opposing leader, and just had a voice and would do protests, and they locked him up in prison, poisoned him, did all kinds of stuff, then eventually killed him. You know.
Yeah.
Look how Putin handles any of his opposers. I mean, people just miraculously fall out of windows in Russia. You know what I'm saying?
Helicopters explode.
Helicopters explode.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's what it will be like, and that's what the world will be. You're not, you know, I don't know how these people are painting this picture, how the world is going to be great when that kind of stuff's going to start happening. Like, you know, it's going to think they're taking back really an honest fundamental right on the Bill of Rights. Am I correct? On the Constitution. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't see how people who say they bleed red, white, and blue is okay with that, and signing up with a guy that's basically telling you this is what I'm going to do.
Yes.
You know?
Messing with your right to assembly. And when you protest, I mean, you got to look at, you know, I know it was a while back with Tiananmen Square in China, okay, when they shot all those people. Is that what y'all want to happen in America? You know, we protest for civil rights and everything, and the next thing you know, the government's coming with guns after us. That's not, you know, and look, it's going to be, and now look, everything else I just said is the left wing and the right wing thing. You saw what happened on January 6th. Look, one person got shot. Now, if that had been some black folk and some Hispanic folk going up in the White House, how would that have turned out?
Yeah, we all know how that would have turned out.
Yeah, so
just go a year early to the Black Lives Matter protest. You know
yeah. So, yeah, I do feel like in that way, yeah, you're going to be able to protest if it's something right-wing, but people who disagree with the right-wing agenda and have problems with the right-wing agenda, that's where you're going to have a problem. Yeah. That's where you're going to have your voice silenced.
Yeah, well, one thing I got a problem with is people saying that Kamala's a DEI hire. Sons of bitches. So, what we want to talk about right now is shifting gears to the 5 facts which prove Kamala Harris is not a DEI hire. Ever since Kamala Harris has been acknowledged as a Democratic nominee for president, Republicans like Harriet Hagman and Tim Burchett and others have referred to her as a DEI hire. The GOP's attempts to slander Kamala Harris won't be tolerated by us. We're not having it. We're going to share the 5 key qualifications that make her an outstanding choice for POTUS and prove that she is not a DEI hire. And fact number 1 is her education. So Harris holds a bachelor's degree in political science and economics from Howard University, a historically black university in Washington, D.C. Her education laid a strong foundation for her career in public service and law. Ace, how might her education in political science and economics impact her presidency?
She knows what she's doing. Plain and simple. And she's got the education to back it up. She's actually studied political science. She knows about it. You know what I'm saying? It's no guesswork. That's why she's been successful where she is. I mean, you know, first and foremost, there's people saying she's a DEI hire, just proving the reason you need DEI. That's you're discriminating against her because of that. That's saying you're saying automatically because of her skin tone, she's not qualified to do what she's doing. The only reason she got up there is because of her skin tone. She graduated from Howard University. They just don't give out degrees there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So her education on her presidency is going to give us a competent person who has an educational background and knows what they're talking about, that understands politics, and just ain't doing things because they feel like that's what they need to do, running things by the seat of their pants. And that's what her education is going to do for her.
Yeah. And she was educated as a child on the West Coast, okay? Through middle school, went to high school in Canada, then went to Howard. So I would also say this: she's lived in different parts of the world. She's experienced education, different parts of the world. She has a multicultural family, so her education looks like America. Her education is not, just in one place with one view. She's had, now again, her family is pretty liberal, so she probably had a lot of liberal things in her education, but she's lived different places, so she's got to meet different types of people. Okay, different races and everything. So I think that that's going to be helpful to her.
Yeah, definitely. No, she's I just, it's just funny, that we're on the show. We have to talk about this, and let's pull up her opponent's education. And is he a DEI hire? You know what I'm saying? He's my daddy had money hire. What do they call that? A trust baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's funny that we have to even be on this show and even have to try to talk to her. Feel like we have to, kind of defend that, because we have some people out there that are like, just shitting on the name, basically trying to say that, using it like that, but trying to be clever. Well, we all know what DEI means. Y'all been using those terms every decade or whatever. Y'all come up with a new term to talk about black people ain't qualified to do what they doing. You know what I'm saying? So that ain't nothing new.
Yeah, so let's talk about the fact number 2. The second fact why she's not a DEI hire is she was a district attorney. So Kamala Harris served as a deputy district attorney in Alameda County, California. She quickly rose through the ranks, becoming the district attorney of the city of San Francisco in 2004. Steve, how will her courtroom experience benefit her as a president?
Because she knows how to go at people and convince them, of her position, because she's been in court year after year after year. Okay. She also understands in cities what folk are going through. And you always hear about crime in the big cities. She understands. She was a district attorney in one of the largest cities in America. So she was trying people. She was looking at crime in these large cities. So she can go at it, looking at it from the position of somebody who actually dealt with it on the ground. Okay? So if you on the floor and you looking at it and then you go up to the roof, you know what was on the floor. You're going to know how to deal with it.
Yep. Hey, my legal background is probably, I looked at a shitload of Law and Order. You know what I'm saying? So that's about how big and endeavor my legal background is. But if I'm correct, ain't the district attorney the boss?
Sure enough.
Yeah. And don't they have you like assistant DAs that kind of do all the grunt work, and they have to
Sure
report
do.
to the boss, right? Okay, so that's an executive position right there, right? So that she gets some executive background of having to, just manage people and be in charge of people in that situation. And of course, it's got a legal background, like you said, and that's with that she's probably got a pretty good grasp on crime. You know what I'm saying? Because she was a district attorney of a major city in the United States. So, so she's probably got something when it comes to crime and trying to solve problems with crime. That's probably close to her heart, because that's her background. That's where she comes from.
And at the end of the day, too, I mean, when you talk about like she was in charge of people, she was the executive over there. It wasn't like she was the executive over a bunch of people, picking fruit.
Oh, yeah.
She was in charge of a bunch of smart people who are lawyers with degrees and passed the bar exam, and people who were probably moved on to other influential positions.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like she was in charge of just some baggers at HEB. Okay, you could be in charge of people, but she was in charge of like some smart people.
It wasn't like she was in charge of like 9 stupid celebrities that ended up not doing anything after your show and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Basically.
Yeah, and I want to dispel a rumor, because every time I'm online, they say when she was district attorney, she just put a whole bunch of black people in jail. Okay, let's set some records straight. When she was district for selling weed, that's what it was. Mm-hmm. When she was district attorney, the number of people who were sent to prison on marijuana convictions was 45 people. 45 people, period. Not 45 black people. 45 people, period. Okay? So when somebody tells you, oh, she sent a whole bunch of people to prison because of weed, that's a lie.
Yeah.
Let me break it down. Let me break it down again on my vast knowledge of law and order, right? For a district attorney to implicate anybody or convict anybody, they have to get, it has to be done by, they have to get convicted by the grand jury, right?
Yes.
Which the grand jury is a jury. It's just a jury of people that are regular people.
Yes.
So to get a case on anybody before the district attorney can even take them to court, the grand jury has to find that crime is worthy of them even getting to the district attorney.
Absolutely.
So technically, she didn't put anybody in jail. She just did her job as district attorney of prosecuting them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Dun dun.
yeah. And
Bum 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 bum. Dun dun.
yeah, and in addition, she helped to try to stop sex trafficking in San Francisco of young teenagers. Okay, she did do Fresh Start programs for nonviolent offenders so that their records would get expunged. Okay, after a certain number of years. So what she was trying to do is she was trying to be hard on the crime that's crime.
Right.
You beat somebody, you rape somebody, you're sex trafficking children, because that was her thing as district attorney and attorney general, protecting the kids. Okay, and she was trying to make sure that those people were the people who ended up in prison, and those people were the people who ended up in jail. You rape somebody, you end up in jail. I think the reason Donald Trump don't like her is because he's looking at her ass sideways like, well, I done such and such and such and such. This bitch gonna throw me in jail. I don't know.
I got a couple of cases already.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. But I ain't gonna say nothing about that because look, if we lose, that nigga might throw me in jail.
He might do that anyway.
You might get rid of the podcast and everything, but there are other facts as far as like her progression through the legal system is she actually, which is the next fact number 3 of why she's not a DEI hire, because she was once the attorney general of the whole damn state of California. So in 2010, she was promoted again. She was elected to be elected now by the people of California to be the attorney general. Now, that made her the first woman and the first African-American to hold that position. So, Steve, what are some of the...
Indian person?
I don't know if she was the first Indian person. She was the first woman and the first African-American. If she was the first Indian, I didn't catch that one for Attorney General. There might have been another Asian person that was Attorney General before her. I don't know.
Okay.
But I don't know. You might be right. So, what are some of the issues Kamala focused on as the California AG, and how can she leverage that experience as the president, Steve?
She was holding corporations to the fire. Okay. Again, sex trafficking. I think that a lot of what she looked at was, again, trying to help people who couldn't help themselves. Okay. So that was what she looked at. Those were the things. I know that the sex trafficking, I know she did. Again, she dealt with death penalty issues, because at first they didn't have the death penalty, then they did have the death penalty, and there's some things that she was working out with that. But I think mostly what it was again trying to balance everything to where everything was fair for all citizens of California. Right. Because one of the things that she was looking at is we're not red or blue,
Yep.
And there are rural areas in California. So one of the things she was trying to do was in the laws, how the laws were implemented, because a law is a law, but attorney general, governors, they decide how these laws are going to be implemented, who we're going to go after, the punishment, that type of thing. And I think that she was trying very hard to make sure that the constituents of California, that their voice was heard.
Yeah.
Okay. And as a president, if you want your voice to be heard, you do want somebody who's going to listen to you in a fair and balanced manner.
Yeah.
And she got dinged for that, you know, because people who saw her record as district attorney in San Francisco thought, well, she's not as liberal as she was, and that's not fair. But the thing about it is, that's a state. The state of San Francisco is bigger than most countries.
Yeah.
You know, population wise.
City.
Yes,
Or you
Steve.
talking about
I
the
mean,
state of
not San
California?
Francisco, the state of California. I'm sorry,
Okay.
the state of California is bigger than most countries. Okay, so, you know, she had to look at it differently, and the fact that she could go through and deal with things in a way that gave everybody an equal voice does show that she would be good for America, because she can look at things and speak for people of all economic situations, race, color, political views, and that's important.
Yeah, man. Steve killing me with that hezzy. You know what I'm saying? He'll be talking, then I'll be like about to jump in, and boom, he hit me right there. That hezzy's killing me. You know what I'm saying? Nah, yeah, you know, here's the thing, man. She was the first African American woman attorney general in California. And it's funny we're talking DEI, because I think what people who go against it don't realize, we still have to say the first on a lot of shit in this 2024. Like, we still saying the first this and the first that. Like, the country's damn near 300 years old. We talking about the first deal and the first this and that. And you talking about we don't need DEI? Okay, but nonetheless, she's one person that's definitely qualified for what she's doing. And the attorney general just proves it. One, it's she's an elected official in probably one of the biggest states. Well, definitely one of the biggest states in the country. You know, she had to get elected to be a district attorney also, but being attorney general, I mean, she had to run a campaign and do that and get a lot of people to vote for her. She probably had to, you know, work across lines to do that. She just couldn't roll there and completely be liberal. She has to get everybody in that state to kind of agree with her and want her to be there. Again, it's an executive position. Attorney general, not only do they run an office with multiple people, but she has to administer the whole state when she's talking about law now. Can't be no slouch to do that. You know what I'm saying? So where these people come up with this crazy narrative that she's only being hired because of her race, that's what DEI means when they say that. Saying because she's black and she's a woman, that's the reason she's where she is. They're just scared to say it. They're full of shit, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Easy way to say it.
And they really full of shit because we got a fourth fact to
Yes.
prove that they full of shit. And that fourth fact is that even after being a district attorney, after being the attorney general of the state, she became a state senator. Now, if you gotta be she got DE
Not
at
even a
each
state-
turn,
oh,
she
a
got
state senator,
she was a
state
DEI
senator.
hire for like every position she ever got. Because basically, you saying DEI got her where she is, so she had to get a DEI hire as district attorney, as attorney general, and then as a U.S. senator, right? So Kamala Harris was elected to the U.S. Senate in 2016, representing California. Once again, the voters in her state said, "We like her. She's got the credentials.
She's U.S. senator,
You
right?
win." Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
said.
okay.
U.S. senator. That the state of California voted her the U.S. senator.
Okay, yeah.
You don't get voted by nobody else. I wish I could vote for other state senators. Shit, other U.S. senators from other states. But anyway, she became the U.S. senator of the state of California. So her work in the Senate included advocating for healthcare reform, immigration rights, criminal justice reform, and more. So Ace, how will Kamala's time as a U.S. senator prepare her for the presidency?
This falls back into the categories is you got somebody that now who is in Washington, knows the workings of Congress, knows how that relationship works with the presidency, understands how that checks and balances works. She just knows what she's doing. She's familiar with that. You know, I like how these people kind of say, well, we need an outsider in this. You don't need an outsider on nothing. If I pull up to the auto, you know, to the the mechanic shop, and they say, well, you don't want no mechanics in here. You want somebody on the outside that never worked on cars before. I'm going to be like, no, I don't. I want the dude that knows what's going on with cars to fix my car. So why would we think we want the same thing in Washington? You know, and I know you talk about corruption and this and that and a lot of like, okay, yeah, you know, Everybody's got that. But I want somebody who's qualified that at least knows what the hell they're doing. And her having the natural progression of, city politics, state politics, national politics, and getting that education along the way tells me, okay, she probably knows what she's doing when it comes to politics and governing. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, hands down, Trump can't govern. I've been telling people that. That's the problem. What we're asking him to do, he don't know how to do.
No.
He's never governed anything before. This proves that she knows how to govern. And not only in one facet of it, an executive facet, but now we have proof that she also understands how the legislation works. Hey, you know what? Maybe Biden got a lot of things passed because he was a senator once and he knows how to go talk to the Congress and get things done. Maybe that's why he's got an infrastructure bill and all kinds of things to go through and got both parties to play on both sides. You know what I'm saying? And pass it. So I mean that's just basically what her experience of being a U.S. senator, how that makes her just a better candidate to be president.
Yep.
Yeah. Anybody who's ever seen her in a Senate committee meeting will know that she was not a DEI. Well, you can't. Okay, let's start with this. If you were elected, you cannot be a DEI hire because you were elected.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
Let's start there. So that's
That's what I keep saying. Elected.
yeah.
Elected.
You were elected. You're an elected official. So the DEI hire is some bullshit. Okay, but if you ever looked at her in a committee meeting, okay, she dismantled people.
Yeah,
man.
she didn't play.
She did not like.
I think Jasmine Crockett was some shit.
Oh yeah, but she was Jasmine Crockett before Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't come into the Senate and make that kind of noise and not be competent.
Yep.
And let's be real, the rules aren't fair. So if you are black and a woman, you got to be extra articulate.
Yeah.
You got to learn you have to be able to go at them, all in and have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed.
Yep.
And she did that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
And
man.
let me ask y'all something real quick. Like, where all these damn DEI jobs at and black jobs at? And why ain't nobody tell me about this shit?
I know, man. I want to be look, I want
Like,
to be CEO of Chase
did
or
not
something.
know they was promoting
Hey,
us and
yeah.
hiring us because we was black.
Exactly.
I know.
No credentials.
Yeah.
No
this-
experience.
this
You
is-
just
this
you
is a
black.
black guy. You know what
Come
I'm
on
saying?
in.
What's this black guy job at that I can
Yeah.
move up to and I ain't gotta have no
Yeah.
experience in and I can work
Yes.
there?
Yeah. I ain't never seen that
I've
shit
never seen- I've
online. I
never
ain't never
seen
seen
that.
no quality. No.
Indeed
Yeah.
ain't hit me up with that.
Yeah.
LinkedIn ain't popped up on my
Monster.com.
shit.
Nope.
He's at Monster. That's old school right there. The yellow pages, the ads.
Ah!
Where
White
the
pages,
hell
nigga.
are these DEI
Classifieds.
jobs? These white people
Yeah.
keep telling me about DEI hire.
Hey.
Did not know that was a thing.
I didn't either.
Well, now they're trying to say that becoming the president is a damn DEI thing.
hire.
And guess what? Fact number 5 proves that she's not, because there have been a bunch of vice presidents who became president. And guess what? She was elected and chosen, vetted to be and nominated by Biden to be his running mate, the vice president. Went through a whole vetting process against a whole lot of other people. And in 2021, they won, and she was sworn in as the 49th vice president of the United States. I got 49th on here. But she was voted in. She was sworn in as the vice president of the United States, put it that way. So this made history as the first woman and the first black and the first South Asian to be vice president. Now, Steve, how would her time as VP help her in the role of the president?
Okay. She visited over 20 countries in her role as vice president. She met with over 150 leaders of countries, okay? Presidents, prime ministers of countries, okay? So she already understands how that works.
Yeah,
She
diplomacy.
She understands how diplomacy works. She understands how to deal with different cultures. Okay. She does understand, again, how to govern. She, people talk about President Biden. President Biden was probably the perfect mentor because he is older, he can't say, hey, look, this is what I need you to do. I need you to go to this country and talk to whoever. And that's what he was doing. If he didn't want to go somewhere, he would send her. He would tell her, look, this is what you need to talk to him about. And she would go do it. And apparently she was good at it because other foreign leaders have glowing things to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I mean, now we moved from, district attorney to attorney general to not state senator, U.S. senator. Now we hit vice presidency. I mean, that's just a path of projection. I mean, if we're looking at a financial chart in a company, a chart's going like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know any companies that turn down businesses going like this. Why wouldn't you want this person to be in the position that they're in? I mean, we can tap on all the experience she's got, but we've just proven how successfully she's been and how good she is at what she does. You know what I'm saying? Plain and simple. You know what I'm saying? There's no question about that. I think vice presidency right now, it just put her in close proximity that what's going on with the world now and what the problems are in real time.
Yes.
She's been in the room. You know what I'm saying? So instead of people talking about what they're going to do and this and that, this person's actually there doing it right now. I was looking at this week when they released the hostages, got Wheeling and all of them over, and they pulled her up and they talked to her, and she was talking about how they have allies built, like you said, and they had to do a lot of behind the scenes work with allies to get people to convince them to let this hostage go so we can get people together so we can put this hostage deal together. You can't do that on no bullshit. You got to be standing on business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't get things done. Then I remember Trump had said, yeah, I'd do something or whatever. I would have got him out when I got in office. And then they shot back and said, one of these are from when you were in office.
Yeah,
and
2018.
You didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because you couldn't stand on business. You didn't have the relationships. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. So it's funny when she sat there and she was talking, I said, yeah, she looks presidential.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks like she knows what she's doing. And I think that's what the vice presidency allowed her to do and is allowing her to do right now for us to see what a real president looks like. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And I think that she looks at the long game and not the short game, because at the beginning of the presidency, they criticized the Biden administration because of immigration. And they were like, well, she didn't go to the border. She didn't do this. She didn't do that. What she did do is she did this. She looked at every country where you had a lot of illegal immigration going on. She went to each one of those countries and researched to see why people were leaving those countries to come to America. Mm-hmm. And then she went to Biden and said, okay, this is what you need to do in this country to make it so people don't feel like they need to leave that country.
Yeah.
Okay. And what you're seeing now is, yes, you need border security, but what she was trying to do is she was trying to go to the root of the problem.
Yeah.
And that is a different mindset than attacking a knee-jerk reaction to something that's already happening anyway.
Yeah.
She was trying to stop it from happening before it happened, which is a much more logical and less expensive and better tactic for everyone. Because if you're leaving a country coming all the way to the U.S., well, that means you got to travel through different countries. Those people, a lot of them die, okay, before they even get to America. So the way that she was handling it was in a way that was trying to make it safer for everybody.
Yeah. And the immigration thing, like they said, they always want to ride on that. I mean, yeah, well, she didn't do nothing about immigration. I mean, nobody's done nothing about immigration.
But Biden has deported and caught more people who are criminals than Trump.
Yeah. And but when I say nobody's did about immigration is one of those things that are always on the table every election that the opposing people are going to talk about the other person that hasn't been doing it. It's just been something that's there because it's something that we know and everybody's known it's not going to get solved overnight. And by the time the new person gets in, they put their new policies in and we're right back at square one. So that's what I mean by that. So it's kind of hard. And I always thought about this when they even they said they're going to give her immigration. I was like, wow. You know, did she pick a straw for that shit? Like, out of everything she's going to do.
That's the worst
they
thing
gave
to
her-
get.
They gave her immigration. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always just something that the opposing party can always attack you on. I don't care where you're at. They can always say, all right, well, look at your immigration bill. You know what I'm saying? Because people are always, and it's funny because we're a country of immigrants. We're always going to have immigrants coming here. That's how we got built. So it's just funny that they try to hold that against her when, you know, nobody's got that right. So
Yeah, so I think we've proven, you know, these 5 facts are definitive that she's not a DEI hire. I think we made several cases to just point out her qualifications, and then the fact that she's been elected in most of the offices that she's held pretty much tells you that AJ, unless millions of people voted for her because because it was a DEI election, a DEI vote. I ain't never heard no fucking DEI vote.
I ain't seen that either.
So I don't think that's the case. But we want to move on to our final topic of the day, which is kind of tied into the voting thing too. Like, you know, why celebrity endorsements influence voters. So on July 30th, Megan Thee Stallion hopped on stage and worked it out at a rally in Atlanta for Kamala Harris. Nowadays, celebrity endorsements like these are common, but why do these endorsements matter and how do they influence others? Let's break it down, giving these people that are watching this live stream, our 5 key reasons. So reason number 1, name recognition. Celebrities often have a significant influence because of their established name recognition and the trust that they build with their audience. Steve, I know that name recognition works when you're like selling products or putting people in commercials and whatnot, but does name recognition secure votes too?
Yes, it does for people who are low information voters. If you don't know a lot about either candidate, okay, and somebody that you like, that you admire says, hey, I'm going to vote for this person, then that makes you look at that person. Okay? Now, I feel like if you're an informed voter, no, it doesn't matter.
well, yeah, I mean, you know, a few years ago, early 2000s, to say, they had what they called Rock the Vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
They get a number of celebrities up there and they throw a big concert and they would, you know, talk about celebrities who they want to vote for. So I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said low-informed voters. That's a nice way of saying uneducated voter. But people who don't really pay attention to politics or whatever the case may be, they may be a little more influenced to maybe by a celebrity voter at that particular time. For instance, I had a little thing with Cardi B because like few months ago, she was on Breakfast Club talking about she's not gonna vote for anybody and was going in on Biden and whatnot and why he didn't want to do it. Well, she's an influencer, and it made me mad because I think sometimes they don't understand how influential they are, especially if you got all these TikTok voters, because there are a lot of people that listen to Cardi B and it might just say, well, Cardi B said this on Breakfast Club, so this is the way I'm going, or I'm not going to go vote at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is also a vote, a way to influence it. So, yeah, I think it can, depending on who the person is, change the mindset of some voters and be somewhat effective. So.
And I think that it goes right back to Steve's point. Like, those are people who are like, there's people out there who don't give a fuck about politics.
Yeah.
But they love Cardi B. And they're more likely to watch Cardi B and hear what she says and then vote based on that rather than watching CNN or reading a website, USA Today, that talks about the platforms of the voters and how they're going to impact them. They just, they see an interview with Cardi B, and because they like her music, they watch that video on YouTube. They don't watch no other shit. So to your point, they don't understand the power that they have sometimes, but that's all driven by the media. So that's reason number 2, media coverage. So celebrity endorsements can generate substantial media coverage, bringing more visibility to a candidate's campaign, amplifying the candidate's messaging, and reaching a broader audience. So Ace, how have the presidential candidates leveraged celebrity endorsements to gain additional media coverage today?
Oh, shoot. I mean, it's a lot of ways. I mean, come on. We just did at the RNC. You know, it's not a mistake they had Amber Rose on there because she's she's an influencer and she's going to influence a lot of the like you said, the people who's going to vote for. Because
The OnlyFans crowd, boy.
That $40 crowd. You know what I'm saying? Then on the same take, they had Hulk Hogan up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know who's still listening to the Hulk brother, but you know what I'm saying? But he got up there and did his thing, and so yeah, I mean, it's not a secret that these celebrity endorsements, help out, can help influence some presidents, at least keep them popular and get a media coverage that they need. You know what I'm saying? So, and both sides, you've seen them, try to, lean on celebrities. George Clooney, on that side, and then I mean, I remember in the good old days when Bruce Willis was around, he was a big advocate of politics. So Matthew McConaughey, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, and the presidents will lock arms with these guys and use them. I mean, even though we look at the Obamas as being political, they're somewhat celebrities now. So when they endorse. Even though we know we're going to probably endorse a Democratic president, but when Biden was going through his deal and the Obamas was really kind of like, hey, I don't know yet if we're going to endorse him and say whatever, that was affecting them. You know what I'm saying? As soon as they talking about, all right, okay, we're behind Harris, that affected them with the base. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa, same thing on the right. So,
yeah. I think there's a problem with celebrity endorsements because when you have a celebrity and they're endorsing, what type of information is it that the celebrity actually has?
Yeah.
Because so often I'll hear celebrities say, celebrities, when I hear black celebrities say that they're voting for a Republican, they'll say, well, Democrats haven't done anything for us. And then my question becomes, have you looked at the Democratic senators' voting records as far as issues that concern black people? Have you looked at the Democratic Congress record as far as issues that protect or help black people? They always vote for us. It's the Republicans that don't vote for us.
Yeah.
So if you want to blame somebody, blame the Republicans and blame the communities that are so apathetic that they don't go out and vote for their own interests, because we should have more Democratic senators in places like Mississippi, places like Alabama, places like North and South Carolina, because there's so many black folk.
Yeah.
And the white people that are there, Mississippi is a poor state. And these congressmen and senators from Mississippi aren't doing anything for their constituents. Yeah. So they're voting. And I'm not, and at this point, I'm not talking about white people. I mean, black people. I'm talking about white people. They're voting to have somebody put their foot on their back. You're voting to have to struggle. You're voting so you don't have a proper education. You're voting so that if you need public assistance, it is more difficult for you. And a lot of times when you're talking about celebrities, they're still looking up here. They're not looking on the ground to see why these things are happening. So I think a lot of times when you're looking at a celebrity endorsement, you got to ask, okay, does this person know what they're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I agree with that, but I also will say that a lot of the celebrities came from where we came from. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these cats came from, like, humble beginnings. So you're right. There's some who haven't, and you got to really look at the person and say, okay, so what level are you talking about? Are you talking about you're endorsing this person because now you're a millionaire? Or do you care about where you came from? Do you remember that shit and know that there are people out there in your family and in other families and communities that need help from the politicians and whatever platform that they're pushing forward to try to initiate change in our country? But there's some people who, to your point, like, they coming at it from a whole different level. So when you talk about Hulk Hogan, I don't know if Hulk Hogan came from where I came from. I don't know his story. But I would, to your point, I need to look at that and figure it out. Like, I would think that he probably didn't come from humble beginnings. I may be wrong, right? And if he did come from humble beginnings, maybe he just forgot about that shit. And now he's rich and he don't give a fuck about humble beginnings. He's like, I need the Republicans to stay in this motherfucker to keep me in my cash and stop breaking down my taxes money. Shit.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes from a lot of times when you talk to some of these celebrity endorsements, especially black celebrities, and you know, rappers or whatever that you know, 10 years ago they didn't have a pot to piss in. All of a sudden they got a little change, and then the problem is when they're talking about their vote or whatever and influencing, they're not coming from any education.
Right.
Yeah.
They're saying it more on a popular thing. So I think a lot of people, especially when they came to endorsing Trump, was just doing it because his name was out there.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they can kind of, and they knew that was kind of, and I always say this, you got black people that I'm just going to do it to be different. I'm just do it because they get that, we all been in the room with white people when you're the only black person. Hey, man, you different than the other ones, man. You one of the good ones. And you know what I'm saying? We get that speech.
Yeah.
We already know, and most of us know that's a set-up speech. You know what I'm saying? But some of these people believe that.
Yeah.
And so then they start turning towards things that don't even make sense for their own people, like endorsing shit that they think like, oh, I'm different, and they don't see color. You know what I'm saying? All that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And they start turning towards it. And I think a lot of celebrities get caught up on that on the black side, start talking, and once they open their mouth, Stacey Dash, you got to stick with it. You know what I'm saying? Now you know you look crazy.
Yeah.
Well, some people don't see color, but I see the color of that like button.
Yeah.
So I need y'all to go ahead and click on that like button if you like the content that you're seeing, and also make sure
Blue
that you
sleeve, white
subscribe to Left-Wing Kingz. Share this content on all of your social media platforms out there. So let's go ahead and talk about reason number 3 that, celebrity endorsements work, and that's emotional connections. So celebrities often evoke strong emotional connections with their fans. When they endorse a candidate, they can tap into these emotions, making the political message more relatable and compelling. Ace, can emotional appeal motivate voters to support a candidate they might not have considered? And have any celebrities got all up in your political emotions?
Well, no, not yeah. No, but then yes. I mean, I think that some people can, some celebrities may invoke some emotion. I think that's like a reason that they were mad at Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think she has a powerful fan base, the Swifties, and I think that dwells in emotion. I think she's one person that I think if she's, come on, look at the NFL. Next thing you know, she said, she started going to the NFL, and next thing you know, they got Swiftie jerseys and all kinds of shit going on. And, every Sunday she's in the press box. So that emotional connection can be affected if you're a hardcore fan like that. I think some people will just be like, yeah. I think if, Prince was still alive and Prince endorsed somebody, Steve be all up in it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about that.
If I guarantee you, if Prince was like endorsing Trump, Steve would give him a second look. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna slow down for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, let Prince make a song about Trump. That nigga would be like, let me consider this. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Shit.
But in the case in point, yeah, if you're a fan like that, to where you're like that, where you deep, then yeah, that emotional connection to that person can affect that. I just ain't a fan of nobody like that to the point where they're going to affect my vote personally. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. And I also, when I look at celebrity votes, even if I'm a fan, I'm a Mike Tyson fan.
Oh, yeah.
However, Mike Tyson is friends with Donald Trump. I got friends. There's no way I'd want them near the White House, not even close, not even a little bit. Okay? And so when he says, oh, well, Donald's cool to you. Right. You beat that motherfucker's ass. The culture is cool to you. Shit. Yeah. Look, he ain't going to say nothing crazy to you. He ain't going to say nothing crazy around you.
Nah.
Okay? But, when you look at his housing practices and everything, look, he wasn't helping people who look like Mike Tyson. So,
nope.
I do think that emotional connections, especially with people who like Taylor Swift, is very influential with young people. I think that's a big deal. I think when you have, again, like in the early 2000s, when you had the Rock the Vote, that's good for getting young people to vote. Okay, so I do think I don't think for people our age, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take one case in point. I'm a big fan of Herschel Walker. You know, I was a fan of him when he ran at Georgia, and then the cowboy trade. He was a cowboy for a minute. Go Cowboys. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Yeah, I got that in on you. And but but I was not gonna vote for that fool. No way, no how. You know what I'm saying? This was not gonna happen. Yeah, but if Herschel Walker was back there, behind the quarterback about to get the ball, yeah, that was my dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that we old heads, we got our guy, we got Prince, we got, Herschel Walker, but some of these younger voters get mobilized by some of these celebrity endorsements out there. So that's reason number 4. If you get a celebrity in your back pocket, like the Swifties, you can mobilize some of these younger voters. So younger voters in particular are heavily influenced by celebrities and social media influencers. So these endorsements can energize and mobilize this demographic, encouraging them to participate in the political process. So helping out with, voter apathy. And that goes to you, Steve. With voter apathy on the rise right now, how much of an impact will celebrity endorsements have on increasing voter turnout among younger generations?
You know where I think it is good to have a celebrity voter? If you have a celebrity voter who is educated, but can speak to a different constituency than, and people who might not necessarily want to vote.
Right.
Like Megan Thee Stallion.
Mm-hmm.
Megan Thee Stallion. And Megan Thee Stallion is young, just got a bachelor's degree, worked hard to get her bachelor's degree while she was doing hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So she's a grinder, she's a worker, but she's a very intelligent young lady.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Somebody like that, young people will listen to, because I know one of my best friends that I grew up with, her kids are like, do you know Megan Thee Stallion went to Texas Southern just like you did? I said, yes, she did.
Mm-hmm.
So they look at her, they look at what she's doing, they know that she has an education. They know her story. So they look at her as a person who is intelligent. And if you're looking at somebody and you see this person is an intelligent person, then I think that does make a difference. Now, I don't necessarily think if you look at somebody and you don't view them as an informed person, that it's going to make as big of a difference.
yeah, no, you're exactly right. Yeah, and going back to just voter apathy, you're absolutely right. It's a lot to motivate young people to kind of get out and vote. It's either going to be like something like they're just really strong, like in the Palestine thing, to where that's really something that's affecting them. Or like you said, you have celebrities younger that they can relate to now start talking about it and getting out to where they're at, like hitting home where they're at, TikTok or wherever they're going to be at. So I think Megan Thee Stallion, like you said, it didn't do anything for us technically to enhance our votes or anything of that nature. We enjoyed the show, but other than that, But younger people may vibe to it and now get in it. They might now have the motivation to go out, let's vote and let's be a part of that, because Megan is now using her intelligence to kind of talk towards the reasons why they need to make sure they get out there and vote and stuff. So I actually see that.
And I really do wish that when we did have celebrity endorsers that they gave a little bit more substance as to why they're voting for this person. And for instance, with Amber Rose, when she said, oh, well, Donald Trump isn't a racist. Okay, well, if he's not a racist, why does he have a history of doing racist shit?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, because, it's kind of like one of those things. I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe. I mean, you got some black friends. You was friends with Samuel L. Jackson. He said he wasn't voting for you, though. You friends with Mike Tyson. You friends with Herschel Walker. But you do a lot of racist shit, partner. You do a lot of racist shit. So I can't rock with that. So when she went on RNC and said, he's not a racist, I was like, you see what he said about the Central Park Five, and didn't and even if with the Central Park Five, he had taken that back, said, you know what, I said that in a moment of anger. I was just, I was caught up in the moment. And yeah, I put out that ad, but the DNA has come out and it showed that they're not guilty. You know what? I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He ain't do that.
No.
He said they're still guilty.
Yeah.
He said they're still guilty. I don't care. They're still guilty. He did the same thing. Anytime it's something with black folk, like I said,
It's bad.
It's bad. It's bad housing,
And to me, he just sound dumb.
Talk
Because
about-
DNA don't lie. That just makes you sound real dumb when DNA comes out. Proves
Hey, you got the
didn't
DNA.
do it,
You got the DNA,
and
but
you
now y'all are still
say,
wrong.
Yeah, you still did it.
Yeah, y'all still did it. They still did it.
And just like it ain't like Trump did some shit like years ago. Like he keeps saying racist shit like recently. You know what I'm saying?
Shithole
Like,
countries.
yeah.
He said people
Last
going to
week.
shithole
like last
countries.
week.
Yes.
Last week.
in front of a group
front
of
of
black
group
people, he
of-
did some racist shit.
I
You know
wonder
what
how
I'm
he
saying?
got the fuck up out of there.
Black
That shit
job.
had me laughing, man.
Like what? Like and that's the killer part about it. And then don't hit me with the. I like people who like hit me with the. Well, Biden did this in the 70s. Like
Yeah, in the 60s,
and-
in the
and-
70s, yeah.
maybe he did, but recently, like
Yeah.
this dude's doing recent racial shit in
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah.
Like you still ain't figured out the narrative. At least most racists now kind of know how to hide it. Like you still don't even know how to hide this shit.
Not at all. He ain't
he
even trying.
says black like a fucking racist.
Yeah, the blacks.
The blacks. He's black. He says, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like nothing about him. But at the end of the day, man,
The blacks.
yeah,
Black
public
jobs.
opinion is big around like when Amber Rose got out there and she was like, there could be some uninformed voters because she's a celebrity and she says Trump's not a racist. She could sway them to think that he's not a racist. Now, because they're uninformed, right? Like, or just I don't know, they just don't believe the shit, right? Because there are plenty of people who know what he's done and know what he said, and they still don't believe he's a racist. But someone like Amber Rose getting out there and saying something like that can help shape public opinion, and that's reason number 5, shaping public opinion. So celebrities have the power to shape public opinion, and they have the power to set trends. Their endorsements can legitimize a candidate and sway undecided voters. So Ace, how have celebrity endorsements shaped how the candidates are perceived by the public?
Oh, you hit the nail on the head. If I'm an uninformed voter and, I look at TikTok or OnlyFans, whichever your cup of tea is, Amber Rose may be very influential in other ways. And, she may just say, hey, like you say, Trump's not a racist. I'm starting to hear the rhetoric and starting to believe it. And then, so she's going to influence me to believe that outside of, because I don't look at CNN. I don't know that he talked to the black journalist last week and just was all over the place. I didn't look at the debate to see that he said black jobs, but I was on OnlyFans, and OnlyFans played Amber Rose at the RNC, where she said he's not a racist. So now I'm influenced that. I heard that there. So now I go to work or whatever. I'm talking to a guy who's saying he is racist. Now I'm going to argue on that point. You know what I'm saying? Even though I ain't got no information, but I heard Amber Rose say it. You know what I'm saying? That's where the uninformed stuff comes in. And a lot of people, unfortunately, this day and age, that's how they get their news. They get their news through memes and posts and short interviews with celebrities. Or maybe they go on the Breakfast Club or a podcast or something. That's where they get their news. They don't go the formal way. They don't turn on CNN and look at it all day. They look at their phones most of the time. When something pops up real quick, they'll see it. Well, most of these influencers are out there. Just like the situation with Megan Thee Stallion. I might not look at the news, but Megan Thee Stallion, if you follow on Instagram, all the Instagram posts had her what? Dancing on the stage at Harris's thing. So now I'm influenced to the point where, I might want to pay attention to this Harris thing, or maybe I might just want to vote for Harris because I saw it on Megan Thee Stallion's post. That's how they influence the uninformed, and that can be powerful.
Yeah. No doubt. And I also think that it can be powerful, but I sometimes what I wonder is when you have somebody who doesn't really care about politics, right? And they're looking at what's going on in their life. Are they really gonna go out and vote though? I think you really have to be a really big star and have a large fan base to really make a difference. I think somebody like Taylor Swift, I think you have to be an icon.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is a pop icon at this point. She is. Okay, somebody like that is going to make a difference. You know, little whoever or little this or little that, they ain't going to make a difference. Probably.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Lil. I mean, even Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne supported Trump. Nobody went listen to Lil Wayne. Look, they was like, Lil Wayne don't know what he's talking about anyway.
Lil Wayne don't even know Lil Wayne. He look at him. He's high as hell.
Yeah, but again,
he don't support himself. You know
yeah. So I think it depends on how you look at the person. People looked at Lil Wayne. They were, he don't know what he's talking about anyway.
Yeah.
I saw Lil Wayne one time. He had on like some women boots and a skirt on. Like he just all over the place. Like,
Hey, well, look, we ain't all over the place. You know, we had another great show. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and checking out this live stream. You know, messed up audio, the whole nine. You know, make sure that you guys subscribe. All right, like my man Matt Dean says. Thank you, Matt, for holding us down with the time, with the camera angles. He over there switching angles and shit. You know, got the comments flowing through. You know, even Lake Ugly. Thank you, Lake Ugly, for coming through and just leaving your commentaries so that we could just kind of argue in the comments with your ass. Come back next week, fool. We like to argue with you in the comments.
Matt Dean's the catalyst.
Matt Dean's the catalyst. Hey, man. But at the end of the day, you know, we want to thank everybody for coming out, hanging out with us, and we will see you again next week.